Morning. So as you can see, I am off the trail right now. I did end my PCT journey this year, and I ended it at Crater Lake. It was a awesome journey. Found out a lot about myself, found out a lot about other people, found out a lot about animals and nature and hiking, and what I can do to make myself stronger, and my weaknesses and my fears, and that people can be much better than what it tends to be in society. A lot of times it seems like a lot of people kind of lose their stresses and their angers and things when they're out on the trail. And I can totally understand that, because my anxiety and so forth went away after months and months. I mean, didn't go away after months, and for months and months it just didn't exist, because I was out in nature in a very peaceful time. I'm very much in tune with nature and with animals, so that is my happy place for sure. But just a little bit of a breakdown on this video, kind of going through a hodgepodge of information. So those who are new to the channel, I started the PCT journey on May the 24th. It was a day before my birthday, my 47th birthday. I ended up getting a stomach flu on day one that ended up putting me in the hospital on my birthday. As soon as I got out of the hospital, I went back on trail. On day 3, I was back on trail. And unfortunately, I went through a lot of back pain the next 3 weeks or so. It just kept getting worse and worse, to the point where I started thinking maybe it was a kidney or an organ of some sort, because it just wasn't even easing up with ibuprofen or Excedrin. So I made the decision to leave the trail to go see my doctor. And at that time, we found out through x-rays and testing that it was actually a compressed fracture on my T7. I was very happy. Kind of weird, but after what I was fearful of, an organ or some other kind of problem that connected with some health issues I've had in the past few years, I was a little worried. So the fracture seemed like a lot less of an issue. So yes, I did decide to go back to the trail, and my doctor knew he wasn't going to talk me out of it, I'm sure. So he gave me some ideas of things that need to be done and things not to do, one of which is twisting, which if you've ever walked the PCT or the Sierra, you know that's impossible to not twist. A lot of high up steps with rocks, and yeah, there's just a lot of things going on that cause you to twist. But I managed to get through it and manage the pain. He gave me some pain medication to take on those nights when I just would have problems sleeping because of a really bad day. And trust me, I've had really bad days where the back just felt like a knife was sticking through the spine. And other days were just very manageable. I'm happy to say I never took one of those pain meds. I never needed it. I did take Excedrin and ibuprofen, obviously, for the random headaches and pains, to kind of get through those, make them a little easier. But I'm happy to say I never had to take prescription pain medication. So I kept going. Basically hiked 1,813 miles. This was a weird year, a lot of skipping around, a lot of fires in Washington and Oregon. So I had to skip from Northern California up to Cascade. I did just a tiny bit of Washington, and then I stopped. Then I stayed in Portland and did some side work to kind of build my budget back up, as I blew a lot of that in the very beginning with some medical issues. The medical issues I just talked about, and medical expenses. From there, I just did that side work for a little bit and kind of kept my eye on the fires to see my plan of attack on how I was going to finish. And I decided to go southbound through Oregon from Cascade Locks. So I was able to do that. Stopped at Crater Lake, like I said. Wanted to end it on a very beautiful day. It was for no reason. It wasn't for pain. It wasn't for any particular reason. It was just because it was time. I felt it inside me. I was tired over the months and months of fighting through some of these pains. These birds are making a lot of noise. I hope you can hear me. But yeah, it was just time. I knew I was going to have to come back next year or the following year to finish up the remainder of the PCT. I am planning on doing the Triple Crown. That is the plan, and Triple Crown is the PCT, the Appalachian Trail, and the Continental Divide Trail. Uh, so I am coming back to finish up the few hundred miles that I have left of Washington and the few in Oregon and Northern California. Um, I plan on doing that next year after some other things, which there will be an announcement of that in a very soon to be released video. The big announcement. The big announcement. But PCT will be done either next year or the following year, just depending on when that fits best with the other things I have going. Because as you know, I am fortunate, a mountain dude. I have to climb the mountains. I have to get to the summits. I have to get to the peaks. I have a lot of things that I'm going to be doing over the next couple years, well, every day until I die. Because that's what I do, is I live life. So just kind of give you a little rundown of some things for the PCT this year. I only had 4 days where it really rained on me. A couple others have sprinkled, but 4 days, that's pretty impressive. Out of the days I hiked was 103. Obviously, I was on trail quite a bit more than that. I think it's 138 since May 24th to when I stopped, but only 103 of that was actually me hiking. Other ones were medical zeros, traveling, doing the little bit of work I did in Portland to build the budget back up. So out of 103 days of hiking, I only have 4 that rained me. I was pretty blessed in that. Also, I had 0 snow. I didn't walk on 1 bit of snow during the whole process of this trail. Funny weather story though is I did actually sleep through an earthquake. Escondido, California. I woke up at 3:41, and I was awake and I was laying on my belly, and it felt like I was being tickled. I'm like, what in the world is that? Like, I think it was just an earthquake. I've been in them in buildings. I've never been in one outside. It was pretty cool. I talked to some of the other hikers that next morning. They said, yeah, something happened. I don't know what it was. I thought it was just a bad dream, but sure enough, we got to a town and where I had a signal, and I was able to look it up, and it was exactly at 3:40 in the morning in Escondido, California. 3.6 that had hit, which was basically right where I was, surrounded by boulder mountains. Another time I was very blessed, I guess. The most miles I had in a day was 31. The longest water carry I had to do was 24 miles, which that's a lot because I was in the desert. So very, very extreme temperatures, and yeah. So the fun part that I kept notes on that I know everybody wants to know, the animals I seen out there. So I seen 7 rattlers. One of those was 2 rattlers together, which isn't supposed to happen. And out of those 2, one of them followed me for about 5 minutes. So that's not supposed to happen either. That's all in the videos in the very beginning. I believe it's like day 10 or something like that. But I also seen 74 deer. Most of that deer, to be honest, was in Yosemite up through Sonora. That's where the majority of I've seen the deer. And when I say deer, I don't mean like running in the distance. I mean like right here next to me. 83 marmots all through the Sierra. Really didn't see any marmots outside of that. Was lucky enough to see 3 foxes, 2 gray and 1 red. 5 mountain goats. That was at 3 Finger Jack. 1 coyote. That was like between Mammoth and like when you start getting into Yosemite before Tuolumne Falls. It was funny. I was coming around a corner and there was a coyote right there, and it just kind of looked at me and went, just started walking away like gingerly, like, oh, if I walk quietly, he won't know that I'm here. He didn't run or anything. It was kind of funny the way he took off, and then when I got around the corner, he was long gone, so he probably ran once he got in the bushes. But 1 bald eagle, and that was on the very last day, because I remember thinking several times, like, why haven't I seen a bald eagle yet? This is so majestic. You should see a bald eagle flying through, but I got to see it at Crater Lake, so that was quite awesome. And a total of 5 bears, 2 of them in Tahoe, 3 in Oregon. And I was really bummed out because I, walked all this distance all through this, desert, Sierras, and man, I was all the way up to Tahoe, which was another 9,500 miles after the Sierra, the main Sierra, including Yosemite. And there's so many places in Yosemite I should have seen them. It's just deep, dark forest at times, and it just you could just tell by looking it was the perfect place for a bear. But I never seen them till Tahoe, and I was very happy when I seen them. And then I got to see 3 in Oregon, very close. Very shy bears in Oregon for sure, but It So just a little fun information there about what I got to see, and I'm going to do that same thing in the Appalachian Trail and Continental Divide. I want to really compare like where I see the most animals because that's a huge part for me. I'm like very connected with animals, not just nature, but the beast. Like I swear I'm part bear, part dog, or something. Like I just connect with them so much, almost like on a spiritual side. But all in all, I'm feeling good. It's tough for me right now making this switch back to society. Many days of not seeing humans out there, just being part of nature, sleeping out in tents every night, hearing the coyotes howling, hearing things walk through the camp. Just besides that, just peace and quiet. So it's a little tough, but I'm making it. My legs are really, they just don't want to stop. It's like this is the hardest thing right here, what I'm doing right now, sitting down talking on this video, because normally I pace back and forth or in circles. So it's kind of tough doing that, but couple changes I made through the trail. I did switch out my tent, went from the 5 pound, yeah, extremely heavy, 5 pound, 2-person dome type of tent to the bivy. I will not be using that bivy on my next through hike. It was just the only problem with it. It was good. It had condensation a few times, but the main part is I couldn't sit up in it. It was enough to get me by sleeping and camping. But if you want to sit up, like if it's raining, which I didn't have to deal with much, but I will probably next time, you just couldn't sit up and do anything. I'm 6 foot plus tall, and you got to have a little bit of room. So there was that, and then I'm going to switch out my sleeping bag as well. It was good, but it was 30 degree, and I really want to get a 15 or 20. I'm actually getting the Magma 15 for the next one. It'll keep me much warmer on those cold nights. Which if you watch my videos, I suffered with that the last couple weeks. It got fall weather in Oregon was getting extremely cold, especially at the higher elevations. Shoes. Well, first of all, the one piece of gear that I did bring that I never used, and I'm one of the few, I guess, because it seems like everybody uses gaiters, but I had gaiters from day one and never used them one time. I would get sand in my shoes. I would just take them off and shake it out. For the most part, it wasn't an issue. So. As far as shoes, if you've been watching videos, I had the Hoka Speedgoat 4s is what I used at first. Great shoes, a lot of cushion, which I like. They lasted a long, long, long time, more than 1,000 miles. Unfortunately, I went a couple hundred miles more than I should have, and ended up causing some treacherous times for me, or potentially treacherous times, I should say. Just a lot of slipping and stuff. So from there, I got a pair of New Balance shoes. Didn't like those at all. And the next one, I went for my last section. I went and was going to get more Hokas, and they were just too much. And I didn't really like the 5s. They didn't have any of the Speedgoat 4s, which is what I've been using. And I didn't really like the 5s the way they felt for some reason. And it was probably in my head, which was probably not much difference at all. But I think it was just I didn't want to spend that much for my last leg. So the people at REI really helped me out. They went digging through the back as there was shoes back there, discontinued that, weren't out on the floor. And one of the guys brought this out. It's a Ultra Olympus 4. And, I do not like Ultras. So I put it on, but my mental state said, no, I don't like this. And I took it right off. And then I just started looking at the shoe, and I realized, wow, that has a lot of cushion, and that's not like a normal Ultra. So I put it back on and walked around like, oh my goodness. This feels almost as good as the Hokas. It's really like you're walking on a cloud. And it was marked way down because I don't know if it was discontinued or what the deal was. I hope they're not discontinued because I want to use them for the rest of my life, I think. But they're, very, very good shoes. Very detailed. They even have a little groove on the tongue for that tendon that comes down on the top of your foot, so it doesn't rub against the tongue all the time. But great traction. Great shoe, never had one blister, and I had a lot of blisters with the Hokas, so it's the right shoe for me, for sure. So that's the one big gear change, clothing change, I guess, that I'm going to take with me into the future is the Ultra Olympus 4s are just my favorite shoe at this point. So there's some information about this year. I hope I'm covering a lot of things that you might have questions about. The most fearful thing for me, the scariest moment I had was on Whitney when the rocks were jagged and leaning over a cliff that went straight down, and I'm having to climb over it, not feeling comfortable at all. hugging onto the rock. That was a scary moment. I mean, there was a lot of things that, I faced my fears on this year, but that was the toughest one, I think. Um, best the best moments, animal-wise, a couple different moments. I had one fox and one deer that actually was like greeting me at my tent as I got out in the morning. It was pretty cool. Um, yeah, just a lot of great things. A lot of it's in the videos, so if you haven't checked out the videos, check it out. If you tell your friends, anyone who likes hiking, walking, adventure, beast, tell them to subscribe to the channel. Help promote this, because that's the whole reason I do this, is so people can feel like they're out there walking when they might not have a chance to do it. And there's going to be a lot more adventures. There's going to be more through hikes. Like I said, I'm going to be doing the Triple Crown. The videos are not going to stop. They're going to keep coming. I'm going to do a couple other wrap-up videos with the PCT, and then a couple things that I've learned out there for tips that I think would be good for people to know. That's all going to be coming in the future. But the big announcement of next year and what's happening will be coming soon too. What I'm going to do right now, though, I did want to take a little bit of time to let you all see some of my favorite photos that I took out here. So let's take a look at that, and I'll see you in a bit. Hopefully you enjoyed those photos. Took a lot of photos, obviously a lot of video coverage over the last 5 months, but so those are some of my favorites. Um, so one big thing that I've learned, I guess, out here, or a couple things that I've learned being on the trail this year. It doesn't matter how fast you go, if you're a fast walker or a slow walker. Obviously there's a goal. You want to get to a certain point before the bad weather sets in. At the end of the day, though, take it in, man. You just got to take it all in. The trees, the water, even the burnt areas. You can just take it all in. It cleanses you. It's pretty deep what I'm saying right now on the spiritual side, I guess, but it definitely cleanses your soul. It's great for your senses, great for your eyes and your ears and the nose, and just beautiful. But at the same time, you just got to take it in even more than just your senses. Take it in deep here. It can really cleanse you and make things a lot better for you. That's my opinion, my humble opinion. But I'm going to get off here right now, and I'm going to leave you with some of my favorite sunrise and sunset pictures I took while out on the trail. And I'm going to be seeing you all real soon. Going to keep on hiking and adventuring, and these videos are not going to stop. So definitely keep tuned in and be watching for the next video and the big news that's going to be coming here within at least the next couple weeks. So I appreciate you all coming along and watching, the hikes, and it's been the journey of a lifetime. But the funny thing is, it's not over. It's just chapter 1. It's just going to keep going and keep going. Love you all, and have a great day. Keep on hiking and live life.